And I'm joined by my colleagues, Ann Conlon, who's running the slides behind the scenes, Sheila Gold, who is our Executive Director of Recruitment and Admissions, and Hope Anderson, who is our admissions counselor. So it's great to have you all on this webinar today. Thanks for taking the time to join us. With that, I'm actually just going to ask one thing. If participants are able, if you could put your name, where you're calling in from, and the program that you're interested in the chat at the bottom of the screen, that would be great. And with that, I'll hand things off to Sheila and Hope. Thanks for joining us. We're so glad that you're interested in learning more about SoPA.
Thank you, Suri. Welcome, everyone. We're thrilled that you're with us. We know that this is in the middle of your day, and we always appreciate your commitment to spending some of your time with us. We love our school and our programs, and we're always excited to share that information with prospective students. At the bottom, you should have received a message from Anne welcoming you all. That's where you can place your name and some information about where you're calling in from. I'll type in also, I will say hello, so maybe I'll see it pop up, and we can be looking at that during the webinar. So just a little information about our school. We are the School of Professional Advancement at Tulane University. We call it SoPA. So you'll hear us refer to it as SoPA during this webinar. So Tulane University itself was founded in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana. It was actually founded as a response to the yellow fever epidemic that was taking place in the Gulf South. So here we are once again in another pandemic, which is, you know, what's old is new again sometimes. What's interesting for prospective students to know is that the very first iteration of what we now call the School of Professional Advancement was founded just 50 years after the start of the university. The university is made up of 9 small schools, one of which is the School of Professional Advancement, but we were one of the earliest schools to be founded. And our commitment at that time was to educate working adults in New Orleans who were interested in going back to school. And we're still doing that today. So what that looks like today is that we offer online classes, flexible scheduling, evening classes, so that adult learners who might not be that traditional 18 years old, right out of high school type of student who may need to go to school part-time or who might have taken some time off before going back and getting a bachelor's or master's, that's the type of student that we cater to. So a little bit of what we're going to talk about during this webinar is we'll talk a little bit about our approach to online learning. Not all of our classes at the undergraduate level are online, but some are. Many are actually. So our students have the flexibility to do either on ground or online courses. So we like to talk a little bit about that. We like to talk about the strength of our faculty and what they do that's a little bit different from other schools, our differentiators. We'll talk about how we support students. And then I'll have Hope join us to talk a little bit about the application process and affordability. So thank you. So a little bit about online learning. So you know, most students had heard a little bit about online education before COVID hit, but once COVID hit, if you were in school or you knew somebody in school, all learning became online learning. What's important for prospective students to know is that we at SoPA had actually been in the online learning space for years. And so we actually are experts in the field of online learning. What's a little bit different about our online class, actually what's extremely different, it's not just a little bit different about our online learning, is that we have extremely interactive and engaging online classes. So you're not just kind of sitting at your house or, you know, wherever you're taking your classes and kind of clicking through PowerPoints or reading some things online and like posting to message boards. We have small group interactions. We have simulations that students do. We have interactive activities. We have small group work that you and a couple classmates may get together. It might be through Zoom, or it might be, you know, sort of in this format, but you'll still get together. And then of course we do actually have synchronous classes. So you will actually once a month have to go to class in this format, sometimes more frequently than that. So our students get to know their faculty, they'll get to know other students, and they find that they're incredibly engaged in the curriculum and in the class. So it's very different than you will find at other schools. So just a little bit of data about how long we've been doing this online work. We have close to 14,000 students who have completed over 30,000 hours of online coursework. We have 8 whole master's degrees that we've developed to be online. Of course, we have many undergraduate courses as well. We've in total have over 320 courses that have been developed to be online. And we especially train our faculty to teach online. So that's a little bit different. A lot of universities, they sort of like say, you're teaching an online course, and then the faculty member kind of figures it out. At SoPA, we actually train our faculty how to interact with students and how to engage online. So it's a much more engaging and interesting way to take a course when you take online courses at SoPA. Next, please. So just a little bit about our faculty. Another way that we feel like we are different from other schools and that our students give us feedback that they really appreciate is that our faculty actually work in the fields that they teach. So many of our faculty are called professors of practice, which means that they're professionals in the field, but then they'll also teach some classes for us. So for instance, in our paralegal studies program, Patricia Betancourt is one of our faculty members. She is a litigation expert. She is a full-time lawyer who actually teaches some classes for us. So students get a different sense of sort of the legal profession, what they want to do, and she brings all of her real-world experience to the classroom. The same is true of Bo Boudreau. He's a published poet, but he's also one of our writing professors. Tyra Mitchell is the former chief of physical therapy at Ochsner here in New Orleans, and she's our assistant director of our kinesiology program. Ralph Russo is the program director of our cyber and IT programs, and he is former New York PD counterintelligence officer. So he actually has worked in the field of counter intelligence and information technology. So they bring all of that experience to the classroom. And so students learn sort of real world what's happening in those fields right now experience, in addition to the coursework. So on our screen right now are all the bachelor's degrees that we offer at SoPA. So these are specifically the degrees that we offer at our part of the school, at the School of Professional Advancement. You can see what they are: digital media and marketing, exercise science, general legal studies, health and wellness, homeland security, humanities, which is a very broad, if you don't really know what you want to study, but you want to get a bachelor's degree, you know, you like reading, writing, history, those sorts of things, English, communications, those are humanities courses. And you can take sort of a mix and match of those kinds of courses and get your bachelor's degree in humanities. We offer IT, information technology, public relations, and then we offer another broad-based course in social sciences. And social sciences are more like political science, psychology, sociology. You can take a sort of a mixture of those courses and put them together to get your bachelor's degree in sort of those courses. So those are the most broad-based. If you're like, I kind of like a type of course, but I don't know exactly, those two are the most sort of broad and sort of create your own type of flexible majors. We also offer some post-baccalaureate certificates, and those are certificates that are for students who have already received their bachelor's degrees. And then we also offer some professional certificates. You do not have to have a bachelor's degree for your professional certificates. Professional certificates are just a cluster of 4 or 5 classes in a specific area for students who are like, I need to get some expertise in a certain area, but I don't want to pursue a full degree. So the professional certificates might be interesting to some folks who are either not able to commit the full amount of time to a bachelor's, or who might already have a bachelor's but want to pick up some expertise in any of these areas. All right. We also have a program called Credit for Prior Learning. And this is one of the ways that we work with professionals in the community who might have some experience either working in a field, or maybe in the military, or maybe working for first responders, that type of thing, who may not have to take all of the classes towards a degree because they already have an expertise in that area. So if you feel like there's a class where you have already been working in that field, or you might have that expertise, you can actually meet with your faculty advisor, and they can walk you through the credit for prior learning process. And there are certain steps that you can take to demonstrate that you already have the knowledge of the class that you're required to take. And if you can demonstrate that you have that knowledge through some written work and some other things, then you can get credit for up to 24 credits towards your bachelor's degree. And that's about 8 classes. So that's a way that students can save both time and money. And you can take some of your expertise that you might already have as a working professional and apply it towards your degree. All right, so one of the last thing that I'm going to kind of touch on is our student support. And another way that we feel like we're very different from other schools is that we provide our students with a lot of support. You have an academic advisor, you have a faculty advisor, and you also have a career advisor that is just dedicated to our students. And so we are very, very committed to making sure that not only do our students get into the School of Professional Advancement, but that you also graduate from the School of our Professional Advancement. We are very dedicated to making sure that our students are successful. And so we like students to know at the very beginning that our advisors are easy to get in touch with. They're available on a daily basis to meet with students, and they want to meet with students. And so we want students to know that at Tulane, we're not just interested in saying, oh, we have this many number of students. We want that the students that we have to graduate, be successful, and go out and be Tulane alumni. So you will find that you'll have all the support that you need to be successful at Tulane. All right, I am going to let my colleague, Hope Anderson, share some information with you.
Good afternoon. Along with Slurry and Chill, I want to also welcome you and thank you for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedule to receive and talk with us about SoPA. So the great thing about SoPA is that it's affordable. Our school price point is lower than other Tulane schools and local universities. Because of our low tuition rate, as you see it, $596 per credit hour, and our classes are 3 credit hours, on top of limited fees. This is something very important to consider when you are comparing different schools and other Tulane schools for attendance. We limited the fees that are assessed to a student, and there are some that may go along or in addition to a class fee, but those are always listed on the class section, and those are for the enhancement of a higher quality virtual and on-ground experience. Our Academic support fees are $60, $60, and the student activity fees, $12 per 3 credit courses. And that never is more than $48 a semester. Tulane University does offer, the School of Professional Advancement offers financial aid assistance, and that consists of Pell Grants or federal loans. You can contact the school's financial aid department to find out if you're eligible for that aid that's offered. So some of that aid, as I mentioned, available that would be able to help cover additional costs would be federal grants, as I mentioned, federal loans, military active duty support, and spouses or dependents would be the Yellow Ribbon Program. And then there is additional discounts or discounts on top of aid that would also help cover tuition costs. If you notice on the screen that we offer 20% discounts to active duty military, K through 12 instructional staff, and New Orleans area public employees, and I also think Jefferson Parish employees as well. We also offer scholarships to Phi Theta Kappa members. And Sheila mentioned earlier the information about the credit for life experience. This is another way to offset your tuition costs. You can reduce the amount of credits that you have to earn if possibly your life or work experiences would substitute for credits. Applying is simple. So what you would do is complete an application for SoPA. In that application, you are required to upload a clear government issued ID that would consist of a driver license, photo, a state ID, or a passport. Then you would need to submit transcripts for every institution you've attended, and then pay your $40 application fee. If you're attending today, then that application fee will be waived. You can always reach out to us if you have some unforeseen circumstances, and we can talk with you and possibly offer assistance in paying your application fee as well. If you have any questions throughout your application process, you can always reach out to the admission department, and we would gladly answer any questions for you, walk through that step with you. Even though the process is fairly easy, but we're still available to help you. As you notice, we have application deadlines. So an important thing about those deadlines is submitting your application, but most importantly is submitting your application and being enrolled in the early enrollment scholarship deadline. That way you are receiving a reduced amount of $200 scholarship on your tuition, and that is for your first semester only. The summer deadline is May 1st, spring is January 1st, and our upcoming fall semester deadline is August 1st. The early enrollment scholarship was June 1st.
Thank you, Hope. So one other thing that I want to share before we open up for questions is that if any of you all are interested in transferring credits from another university. You may have started somewhere else, taken a break, want to finish your degree at Tulane. We make transferring as easy as possible. We also have scholarship discounts for transfers. So that is also something that we can offer, and we work with you to make the transfer process as easy as possible. So if you have any questions about that, definitely let us know, because we're happy to help you with that process as well. So that sort of wraps up the formal part of our webinar. If you have any questions, you can drop that in the chat. I know that folks aren't always comfortable asking questions during a webinar, and you'd prefer just to reach out to us. My email address is on the screen in front of you. Email me, don't call me. I'm not always at my desk, but I always am in front of my email. So definitely give me an email shout out, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. But I will give you all a minute to drop a question in the chat, and then if we don't see any, we can conclude, and then you all can certainly reach out to us on your own. Let's see, did I just see? I see a question from Rian, who you're interested in your current advisor. We will get back to you offline. I'm going to have to go ahead and check on that for you. If you have already applied and been accepted, you should have an advisor, and I can go ahead and get that information to you. Any other questions? I see that Anne put how to contact financial aid, and that's great if you all have any questions, and I'll give you all another minute or so to drop your questions in the chat. Okay, well, I don't see any questions coming in, so I want to thank you all for being with us today. Once again, if you prefer to answer questions offline, I fully respect that. Go ahead and send me an email, sgold@tulane.edu, and we certainly hope that we'll be seeing your applications and be welcoming you all as Tulane students very soon. So thank you all very much, and have a great rest of your day.